Welcome back to AI for Normal People. Today, we're unlocking the secrets to getting extraordinary images from AI generators. We'll transform ordinary photos into magnificent royal portraits, first with zero code, and then with a customizable app that gives the pro developer users some extra capabilities. Same AI, completely different results.
Because why settle for family photos when you can have an entire ancestry of fake royalty that would make actual historians weep?
Yeah, why settle? Let's get started.
No coding brains, no fancy degrees, just regular folks confused like me. It's AI for normal people, robots with wild and feeble. No tech talk, no fuss, no stress. Normal people, AI mess.
AI image generators can create almost anything, but most people are barely scratching the surface of what's possible. Today, I'll show you how to get dramatically better results using royal portraits as our example. We'll be using OpenAI's models today, but these principles work just as well with Midjourney, Stable Diffusion, or whatever your flavor of choice is.
Dean's just using OpenAI because they sent him a nice fruit basket. Isn't that right, Dean?
Yes, Veronica. My entire professional integrity was compromised by a pear and some grapes. Not a sponsor. We'll start with a no-code approach anyone can use. Then power users can stick around for the custom app that breaks all the limitations. By the end, you'll be creating images that actually match what's in your head. Look what happens with a basic prompt like, make me look like a king, versus our engineered prompt system that specifies artistic style, lighting, historical accuracy, and facial recognition priorities. The difference is night and day. And this applies to any kind of image that you want to generate, not just royal portraits. The more specific and structured your prompt, the better your results. Let's start with the no-code approach. So the first thing you'll see is we're on ChatGPT's website. Make sure that you're signed in. You will need a Plus account in order to build GPTs. Now, what are GPTs? GPTs are sort of like a memory of an AI agent that you've made. So it's something that you've given specific instructions, you've taught it how to do something, whether that's text-based, image-based, you enable tool use, so on and so forth. But it's a way of not having to type out that prompt again and again and again. Once you find that sweet prompt, you already have a template that's sort of ready to go for you. So we'll start by here on the main page. We'll go to Explore GPTs here. Now, if you've never been here, these are the different GPTs that creators have made. Some of them are from the ChatGPT themselves, which you'll see right here in this collection. There are writing agents, productivity agents, research and analysis agents, education, so on and so forth. Really, if there is an idea for a way to use AI, chances are somebody's built some kind of a GPT for that. Totally worth exploring the store. But today we're going to work on building one that's customizable to us. For our example today about teaching better prompting for image generation, we're going to do royal portraits. So you can upload a photo of yourself or your family, a pet perhaps, and get an oil style painting portrait of the subject that gets uploaded. So the first thing that we'll do is we'll go up here to the Create tab. It's going to bring you here to this screen. Now, with GPTs, you do have the option to just sort of chat with the GPT builder itself to help you build out whatever it is you're trying to create. Now, we could use this route. I prefer to have a little bit more granular control, so I always just start right here in Configure. Now, it'll ask you for a name. We'll call this, how about Royal Portrait Maker, or something along those lines. And then it'll ask you for a short description of what this GPT does. Enough said there. And we'll say creates royal photo from an image upload. Keep it simple. Now for the instructions, this is where we're going to go real specific with the prompt. Look down below in the description for the exact system prompt or a set of instructions, I should say, that we're going to use for this GPT. And just paste that right in there, just like that. And now we'll kind of expand this and go over this a little bit closer. What did we do here? So instead of just giving it a generic response, something like, make me a king, and just letting the algorithm do whatever it wants, we've already sort of seen what can happen there. You don't always get the best results. Sometimes you can get lucky. Sometimes you can just roll the dice and see what you get. But in this case, we are saying you are Royal Portrait Master, an expert AI specialized in transforming ordinary photographs into stunning royal portraits in the classical style of old master painters. When presented with any image, your primary goal is to generate a historically authentic royal portrait while maintaining perfect likeness of the subject or subjects. So what are we doing here? We're letting the AI know who it is. It is a royal portrait master, specialized in the old techniques of creating oil portraits. We go on further to say, when a user uploads an image, analyze all subjects, human or animal, and transform them into royal figures while preserving their key facial features and expressions. Maintain the same number of subjects as in the original image. If there's one subject, create a single portrait. If multiple subjects appear, include them all in a harmonious royal family arrangement. For human subjects, dress them in elaborate period royal attire, including rich fabrics, jewelry, crowns, medals, and ceremonial elements appropriate to the 16th to 19th century aristocracy. Position them in dignified, commanding poses. When you think back on those royal portraits, they always have this very proper pose to all of them, right? So if you upload a photo of you going, you want to be able to create a more dignified version of it, right? So that's what we're telling the AI to do here. For animal subjects, transform them into regal versions of themselves while maintaining their special characteristics. Dress pets in miniature royal garments, place them on velvet cushions, add small crowns or medals, and give them dignified poses as if they were royal companions. Your artistic style must include, now this is where we're getting into exactly how we want that image to look. We want it to be a realistic oil painting technique with visible brush strokes, rich, deep color palette featuring royal hues, crimson, navy, and gold, dramatic lighting with soft focus on faces, appropriate royal backgrounds, palatial interiors, formal drapery, columns, canvas texture subtly visible throughout. We want this to look like it's actually a painting on canvas, so we need to specify that. Always prioritize facial accuracy above all other elements. The final image should be immediately recognizable as the original subjects, yet transformed into convincing historical royalty. When the user provides additional details in their prompt, incorporate those specific requests while maintaining the royal portrait aesthetic. Adapt your style to match any period, royal court, or specific artistic references they mention. Your generated image should appear as though it belongs to a prestigious royal gallery painted by one of history's master portrait artists. So we've done a lot of things here. We've told the AI what we want, what style we want, while stressing the importance of keeping the facial features of the subject intact. Okay, so once we've got our instructions in, we can do things like conversation starters here, which gives your users or yourself just an idea of an example prompt, somewhere for the AI to start. I don't really think that it's necessary for what we're doing today to have any conversation starters. Knowledge, right here is where you can upload files for a knowledge base for this AI agent. Again, not important for what we're doing today, but we will be circling back to that in future videos. Now the capabilities, it doesn't need web search. We don't need to use Canvas, but we do need 4.0 image generation. If we have that, we're all set to go. Now, up here, we do have to provide a photo. Now you can either upload your own photo, or in our case, we're just going to use DALL-E. And what DALL-E does is it comes through, it reads the name, the description, the instructions, so on and so forth, and tries to generate a little icon based on that. Again, you can customize it yourself if you want to. For our case, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to commit. Then when you're all happy, we're just going to hit the create button right here. Now you'll be prompted whether you want it to appear published on the GPT store anyone with the link, meaning anyone that you send the link to, they can access this GPT. Or if it's something you want to keep only to yourself, you can select only me. For now, we're going to hit only me. A GPT of this, if you look in the description below, we will have our GPT down there if you don't want to build one yourself. And we'll go ahead and hit save. Perfect. And now we can hit view our GPT. It'll open us right up into this little window here. And now we can start having fun with it. Upload from the computer. We'll choose a photo. That's a ridiculous photo of me. Let's use this one. We won't give it any prompt at all. We're just going to upload that photo. And what should, oops, that was another error that I had from previous upload. So with no prompt at all, it'll immediately start to get to work because we've already given it the prompt. We've already told it who it is, what to expect from the user, so that we can just jump right in here, upload our photos anytime we need a royal portrait, you know, a daily occurrence for some users. That is completely absurd. All right, now I wish it hadn't included the watch there, but we could refine that and remove that. But if we look closer, I mean, it looks pretty close to me. Maybe not perfect, but and if we zoom in, we can see clearly these are some brush strokes. I see a little bit of canvas texture here, which is good. That's one of the parameters that we gave it. Columns and things like that in the background. Again, part of that system prompt. Looks like an oil painting. Very similar to those kind of brush strokes. I like it. I like the texture all the way through. Not too shabby. You look like I'm about to commission Michelangelo while simultaneously planning to invade France.
More like the court jester who married into royalty by accident. How did I get here? The portrait asks.
I'll have you know, I would make an excellent monarch.
Sure, if the royal decree was more dad jokes for everyone.
That would be my first act. Let's try it with a pet. Here we're using a picture of my cat, Sir Gilgamesh Bartholomew Waters III. And we'll do the same thing. Now that's hilarious. Now, if you're happy with the custom GPT approach, you've already upgraded your AI image game significantly. But we're just getting started. Now, before we dive into the developer solution, a quick note for our non-coding viewers who are curious about the next section. The barrier to entry for coding is lower than ever. With AI assistants built into tools like Cursor and Windsurf, plus thousands of free tutorials online and more LLMs than you can count, you can learn the basics of Python or any programming language surprisingly quickly.
Translation. It's not as hard as it looks, but you will still swear at your computer occasionally.
That's part of the authentic coding experience. If you're interested in a beginner-friendly video on getting started with coding for AI, let us know in the comments. We're here to demystify this stuff for everyone. However, most of our focus is going to be on building the AI tools, not the coding side. But if there's enough interest, we'd be more than happy to jump in. Now, for those ready to break free from all limitations, let's look at our custom app solution. Hey there, developers and vibe coders alike. Not going to show my face for this part. You guys don't need to see me anymore. But I'll just go ahead and walk you quickly through the image generator program that we have here. Once you've cloned the repo from GitHub, link down in the description below, of course, you just need to create a .env folder. All right, and OpenAI API key. Your OpenAI API key goes here. Go ahead and post that. Of course, I'm not going to paste mine. And briefly, you have the main entry point. That's the main.py. The config.py is probably what's going to be most interesting to you folks here. This is where we can change the parameters. We have GPT image 1 right now as new models come in, or if you prefer DALL-E, you can put that in as well. The sizes, I have the dark and light theme for the tkinter side of it. Then you have the API handler in here. Again, you can consult OpenAI's API documentation. for anything that you might want to modify, add, take away, so on and so forth. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. You guys know what you're doing. Same with the UI handler. Obviously, you could build a much better front end for this. You could have it as a web app. You could build it as an iOS app, kind of, whatever floats your boat here. I use Tkinter just for the speed of putting these demos together. Looking at it right away, do not like some of the colors I chose for the dark theme, so feel free to change that as you like. We're going to go light mode. All right, briefly, we'll go over some of the things. So you have a number of outputs. You can set this as high as you want, and it'll just iterate over each of those. Usually, I just like to do a big batch at once and pick the best of them. Obviously, your dimensions for size. You also have quality control here, high, medium, low, or auto. I always just put high unless I'm really just tinkering. Background, transparent, opaque, or auto. Auto, again, does a good job if the prompt requests transparent background, but of course you can force it. Output formats, you're familiar with all that. Compression level, I kind of just added that in there too. Some of you might find it helpful. Moderation, either auto or low. Typically I set it to low to avoid some rejections, but really I tend to not have too many problems. All of your system prompts go here. The royal one we're going to go ahead and include inside that JSON file that you'll find in the code base. And it's the same thing we went over in the previous part of the video. This is just the system prompt. Again, this one's in here. You can create your own prompts however you like. You can do, for example, caricature, portrait, and I'll just paste in a prompt I wrote before. This is for creating a vaudevillian style caricature, but do whatever you want. All of your prompts stay here for quick reference later on. And of course, they'll pop up here in the system prompts just so that you don't have to type that out every time. You have an optional user prompt that can be added on top of the system prompts here, and we'll upload a reference image. Generate image, and just like the GPT no-code version, an image will start to process, but we'll just fast forward like that. All of your generations, in this batch we did 4, you can go over to the gallery tab here, and from this tab you can sit here and review all of the different seeds that came out. Pretty straightforward. This is a persistent gallery. You do have the option to download and choose a different directory. By default, we have another directory set up in the project home for generated images. And anything that gets generated through this program will stay in your gallery until you delete it. Looking through the different options, I like this one, I think looks the most. Now, what's interesting about this, again, you can download to wherever you like. If you download to the root directory, you're just going to end up with duplicate images like so. Now we have in-painting here, which is very, very helpful. All you have to do is just choose the image you'd like to in-paint. We have rotation options. Brush sizes, of course, you can clear the mask. System prompts can be put back into here if, for example, you have a system prompt and you're just going to in-paint to have one little change. You can do that here. Any of your custom system prompts can go here to work together with the in-paint feature. Pretty straightforward. Just paint over the area that you need to change or would like to add something to. Again, you can choose a number of iterations. For now, we'll just stick with one, and I'll write wearing sunglasses, royal sunglasses, of course. Of course, if I can spell that. Again, the number of iterations you want, we'll just stick with the one for now. Let's see here. Everything looks fine. And you can in-paint the image. Boom. Completely ridiculous. But pretty handy. The generation comes out almost spot on, but is just missing some of that extra little flavor. It's really nice to have the in-paint feature built in. How about we do a test of the caricature prompt that I put in before. The one thing I did note is I should have added a loader in here. If you look on the bottom left, you'll see processing as your generations are happening. But feel free to add a loader if you'd like. We have vaudeville down here. Now, I did specify vaudeville in the system instructions, but it interpreted it as vaudeville in text at the bottom. No worries. We can go in here. We can change just the text. We'll say, replace wording with my name, Dean Waters. And yeah, all that's fine, whatever. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and in-paint. Now you'll notice there are slight differences. Even though we in-painted just the bottom to change, the way this model works is it still iterates line by line from the top down to create the image. So there are going to be minor differences. If I had set the output size to be the same as the original, you'd see virtually no difference at all. So just keep that in mind. If you do auto, it's sort of just going to size it the way it thinks it should be sized. But if you're specific on both of those, you'll see less deviation between the original and the in-painted output. And let's go ahead and test the transparent background. For this, we'll do no system prompt, and we'll just say something like a tiger wearing a leash and standing on its hind legs. It is holding its own, it's not only, its own leash in its paws. We can put Rembrandt lighting. Let's say also include that I want the light coming from the left side of the subject. And with the power of editing, boom, there we go. There's our transparent image. Now, if we download it and take a look at this tiger just a little bit closer. Yeah, there you go. Transparent background, great for adding to whatever Photoshop project you're working on, a quick edit, whatever, really nice to have that option available to us. So there you have it. 2 approaches to getting dramatically better results from AI image generators. Whether you're using the no-code Custom GPT or our developer solution, the key principles remain the same. Be specific about style, lighting, and composition. Prioritize what matters most, in our case, facial recognition. Structure your prompts logically from general to specific. Use the right tools for your needs and skill level. Remember, we use royal portraits as our example today, but these same techniques work for any kind of image generation: product photography, landscape art, character design, storyboards, sketches, you name it.
Just don't blame us when your Instagram is suddenly nothing but AI-generated versions of yourself as historical figures. Your followers will notice. Trust me.
Use this power responsibly, people. If you'd like to see us cover other image generators like Midjourney or Stable Diffusion, let us know in the comments. Or if you're interested in learning the coding basics to build custom tools like this, we might just tackle that video too, but only if there's enough interest.
Translation. Please validate my existence with comments and engagement.
On that note, I think we're done here. Until next time, keep exploring what AI can do for you. No computer science degree required.